Taledand. Taledand is a 1990 Kannada play written by Girish Karnad, an eminent person in Kannada literature.
The play Taledand best illustrates the shattering of the dream of casteless egalitarian society in the post-independence Indian society.
The play depicts the story of the community that existed in a small kingdom called Kalyan in Karnataka in the 12th century, ruled by King Bizalla.
My name is Pragya and I am going to present Act 1. Bijalla, who is Baba by caste, is the king of Kalyan. He is well aware of his roots. So, he says, for 10 generations, my forefathers ravaged the land as robber barons. For another 5, they ruled as the trusted feudatories of the emperor himself. They married into every royal family in sight, bribed generations of Brahmins with millions of cows. All this so they could have the caste of Kshatriya branded on their foreheads. Bijala also marries a royal princess Rambhavati and has a son by her named Sovideva. Bijalla thinks that his city flourishes because of the Sharna's hard work and devotion, and therefore feels extremely grateful to them and their leader Basavanna. Unlike his father, Sovideva hates the Sharnas and Basavanna. He grows suspicious that Basavanna spends a large amount of money from the royal treasury on his hospitality to his guests. He wants to prove this by inspecting the treasury so that he can win his father's favor. Sovideva's attempt, however, ends in failure. Jagadev, a Sharana, gathers thousands of Sharanas to protect the royal treasury in Basavanna's absence and prevents Sovideva from tempering it. He performs the task in all devotion, despite the fact that his father is on the deathbed. So, after verification, the treasury is found absolutely intact. Bijalla scolds Sovideva very severely for his misbehavior. Feeling insulted, Sovideva decides to rebel against his father and Basavanna. He is helped by Damodar Bhatta, the queen's priest, and Manchanna Kramita, the Brahmin advisor to the king. The death of his father makes Jagadev remorseful and restless. He blames Basavanna for the loss of his father. He thinks that he protected the royal treasury, disregarding his father's adverse health, and the entire credit goes to Basavanna, as people consider it a miracle. In the fit of anger, he supports the violence of Sharanas against the Jains at Maddur, which is totally contradictory to Basavanna's principle of non-violence.
My name is Pritha Vira and I am going to present Act 2. The second act starts with Sharanas assembled at Basavanna's house. They propose the marriage between Kalavati, a Brahmin girl, and Shilavanta, a Dalit boy. Their parents invite Basavanna to the betrothal. Thinking about the future prospects of this intercaste marriage, Basavanna gets disturbed and cannot say anything. The Sharanas get unhappy due to his hesitation. Basavanna tries to justify his stand by saying it's a question of life and death for these children. From tomorrow, the wrath of the prejudiced will pursue them like a swarm of snakes, to strike as they pause to put up a roof or light an oven. Who will protect them then? The Sharanas are so overwhelmed that they remain stubbornly stuck to their stand. Bijalla is also against this intercaste marriage, since he fears that this marriage may lead to communal violence. He requests Basavanna to somehow stop it. However, Basavanna too is helpless to prevent it. One way or the other, he comes forth to support the Sharanas. Reluctantly, Bijalla uses his army to prevent the bloodbath during the marriage. Thus, the marriage takes place without any hindrance. While the Sharanas are overjoyed, considering it a great achievement, the marriage infuriates the Orthodox Hindus. For them, this marriage is a great sacrilege, a violation of Shastra's injunctions. Damodar Bhatta complains against it, saying, the Rig Veda tells us that the four Varnas flowed out of the primordial man, the Brahman from the head, the Shudra from the feet. So, what we have here in this wedding is desecration of the body of the Purusha. How horrifying!
My name is Disha Mishra and I'm going to present Act 3. Act 3 deals with the massacre of the Sharanas by Sovideva, who follows the advice of Damodar and Manchanna. In Basavanna's absence, the Sharanas cannot gather up their courage and go helter-skelter. He occupies the throne by imprisoning his father. The inhuman treatment given to the Sharanas and their massacre infuriate Jagadeva. He enters the royal palace to avenge Sovideva. However, Sovideva goes to his father-in-law for safety. Frustrated, Jagadeva sends his followers to the inner shrine of Shiva where Bizalla hides himself. In keeping with Basavanna's advice, the old helpless king embraces the linga to protect himself. When he is told a lie that Basavanna has sent them to him, he comes out of the shrine. Violating Basavanna's preaching of non-violence, Jagadeva stabs him to death. Later on, he too commits suicide. Basavanna is greatly grieved when he realizes the merciless killing of the king by Jagadev. He considered it as the defeat of his principles. In the end, he too meets his death mysteriously. History comes to a full circle by the end of the play, with the dramatic reporting on the stage of Basavanna's death, and with him dies his vision of a casteless society. The play ends with Sovideva's coronation amongst the heartbreaking cries of pains and groans. The screams of the victims and the Vedic chanting are heard simultaneously. Thus, the play Taledand can be regarded as a play that presents the drastic consequences of the meaningless caste system in India.